Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is the 22nd and we are heading into I just saw a blizzard on my phone. It says blizzard warning until tomorrow night at 6 p.m. That's the 23rd. And then the funny part is, I don't know if you can see it, snow forecasted in 1 minute. It's like, okay, great. I better go out and do something. No, not doing anything. I think we're just fine. But anyway, anyone else in the area getting this weather pattern? Uh, just be safe, of course. I always say don't drive. And ironically, my children are driving in my car right now. Not good, but they kind of bullied me, so there you go. And they're adults. Okay, so this is Sunday Social Security roundup for the week of. So that would be February 16th to Saturday, February 21st. And what do we have going on? I had hearings again, and next week. Um, all right, so Monday, the 16th, it was a little ditty about, yeah, getting your 100% P&T documentation as the official, and whatever you had, a letter, anything that's going to be definitely kind of clinched as official will probably be sufficient getting that into the SSA. And there was a little more chit chat about other priority cases. The point for veterans to get in the 100% P&T documentation, if they are 100% P&T, is because they get prioritized in terms of getting to jump ahead a little bit. Doesn't mean their case is going to go faster in terms of adjudication. So don't be thinking that you're going to have an answer necessarily quickly. It's just that some of the inline business might be, you might be a person who will get an adjudicator before maybe another person who filed before you. Okay. That was Monday. And I think it's got an extra video in there describing some of those priority categories because not everybody's 100% PNC, right? All right. So, and I'm having trouble seeing this. It's so small. The Tuesday, this we had, gosh, I really am blind. The kind of hearing we only have one question asked by the judge and what that may or may not mean. And someone was also asking about the frequency of on the record awards. Occasionally, I will get an expressed expectation by a client. It's not frequent, but occasionally, who says, I want you to do an OTR brief. Well, nobody tells me what they want me to do. As long as we know what the final goal is, that's what we have to agree on. You're not telling me how to do my job. But an OTR is not always something that's appropriate. Ironically, however, an OTR brief is the way we do it, akin to the pre-hearing brief anyway. And although neither one of them are required, we do them every single time. So it doesn't really matter whether you want to call it OTR, which might be a little slap in the face of the judge if it's clearly not an OTR kind of case, or the safer bet is to call it a pre-hearing brief, and that's what we tend to do. There is exception though. I just had one recently, and we didn't get the OTR, but we wanted the hearing. That was last week or 2 weeks ago. Wednesday, February 19th. Wednesday? Oh no, forgive. Wednesday we didn't have one. Yeah, I know. That's because I had that hearing and it got a little carried away from me, but we did do our live stream, and the replay of the live stream came out on Thursday. So if you want to have a little bit of, I don't have a transcript for it. I'm going to have to look into that. But it would be nice if people could kind of see what questions were addressed there. Maybe I should check that out, right? Because why would you want to necessarily want to watch a repeat, a replay, which can be on so many different areas that maybe aren't touching on you and your personal situation with your SS case. So that's something we're looking into. I'm sure it exists. That was Thursday. Friday, February 20th, fraud law review was about an American fugitive living in Mexico who had been using the fake ID of someone else for 40 years and ultimately was collecting someone else's Social Security for less than 40 years. The impersonation, if you will, was for 40 years almost, but the taking of Social Security did not occur until many years later when the false person became of age. Anyway, got caught. Hope he goes down. You know me. Law and Order. Then we have Saturday, the 21st. This was just a little ditty about red flag language, we like to call it, when you're looking in a record and you see the doctor or the whoever was recording the visit details what the patient said when they start throwing in some comments that you're like, alert, alert, alert. And it's not it's not fun to see because then sometimes you have to broach it with the person and just be like, you gotta stop this. Don't share loose lip sync ships. Either don't do it or don't share it. But anyways, there's a few in there, so take a look, see, just in case you're maybe doing that, not realizing you're doing it. Some of them are pretty obvious though. All right, so that was Saturday. That's the week, guys. So we are getting this significant snowfall. So funny, I keep saying spring's around the corner. No one's really believing me. But anyway, stay safe, guys. I'm looking out the window now, watching the snow come down. It's like it's just at the very beginning. We still weren't even done with our snow hadn't melted from before, although a bit of it had in the last week or so because we got up to 40 for a few hours sometimes each day. So that helped a lot. And it makes a big difference when you're gonna have another foot or something on top of it. So that's really good. But anywho, I will be not driving a lot in the next week. Although I do have to go see a friend who's in a nursing care home. But hopefully I'll get that done this week once the roads are cleared and everything's good to go. All right, guys, have a great week. I hope to see you at the 12 noon pre-recordeds. And if you have any ideas for a pre-recorded that you think would be helpful for you and therefore probably for other people, definitely feel free to post it under any video because I will get to them all eventually. And of course, I'd love to see it Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the live stream. And that will be at the regular time this week. I have no hearing interruption that time frame. Okay. All right. I'm going to say adieu. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Good morning. Happy Sunday. This is Sunday Social Security roundup for the week of February 8th to Saturday, Valentine's Day, February 14th. So where are we at? I hope you guys had a great weekend, by the way, and a great Valentine's Day. And if your weekend's still going with Valentine's, all the better. Okay, so Monday, which was the 9th, I said the 9th, right? What do we have? What do we have? Yep, this was when it discussed what to do or what happens when your doctor tells you there's no new treatments, it's just same old, just nothing new is going to happen or whatever. Basically the can't cure it. We're just going to do the same thing. And we discuss what you shouldn't or should not do when that happens for the purpose of your case and your case strength. Tuesday was February 10th. Yep, answering a question about widow in care of children. So if a person is any age, but usually it's under 50 when it's the concern, when they really wouldn't have a survivor benefit on the loss of a spouse, if they are caring for children under, I want to say 16, and not earning more than a certain limited amount of money themselves because their full-time job is caring for the child, there is a survivor benefit that they can claim. They do not have to be disabled to do it. They're caring for a child. So they have this, material basis for not being a really 15-hour-a-day worker like some of us. But you get what I mean. So anyway, there was a widow who in the 40s was, concerned, not knowing what exactly to do, particularly when she also feels disabled herself. So it's the kind of situation where you might be applying for SSD in your own name, in your own disability, and say in your 40s, but if you're also widowed or a widower and caring for a child, that can be sometimes the easier route, obviously, because you don't have to prove you're disabled. But on the same token, you might not want to continue on not being SSD disabled if you are disabled, because if you don't go back to work, your retirement benefit is going to severely shrink. And what if your retirement benefit would have been bigger than what you're going to get as a survivor. Just things to look at. You got to look at all the different amounts that are going to come to you depending on what you're going to do if you have multiple avenues of eligibility for benefits. Just something to keep an eye on February 12th. All right, so that was, oh yeah, Wednesday we had our live stream. I had a little glitch after about an hour in. So we did cut it short at about an hour and 15. And another glitch was someone didn't post the Wednesday 12 o'clock recorded video, so we didn't have one Wednesday day. Yeah, we've been kind of like on all 8 cylinders lately. So some of these things get a little, did you do that? Did you do that? But anyway, I'm sure it was fine since we all saw each other at 1 o'clock. And just a reminder, live stream this coming week because I have a hearing and they haven't quite gotten that whole schedule down where I'm not available during my live streams. I'm having it 12:30 to 2:30 instead of 1 o'clock to 3, the usual, because the hearing starts at 3 o'clock my time and I like to be good and ready a half hour in advance. So we'll cut out at least a half hour early. And if it's not busy, even earlier, and it'll be good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. Friday, we had Friday Fraud Law Review. This was a New Mexico man who stole $650,000 in COVID relief funds so he could buy a couple houses, do all this kind of fun stuff. He got caught, which is, of course, appropriate. Okay. Yeah. So Saturday it was a question someone had on one of the boards. So don't hesitate to put a question in response to another video, even if it's not related, because if it's appropriate for me to answer, I will. And if it's appropriate for everyone else to, sometimes a video is just better than blah, 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 dictating or texting or typing. That's what I'm going to do. And it gets out to a little bit more people than actually, play around the boards. And this one was about transferable skills. What are skills? That's a whole nother thing. So what are skills and what can be transferred in Social Security disability cases? What are those transferable skills that can make or break your ability to win under the grids? All of you over 50s and 55s and 60s, those transferable skills, they can come bite you in the butt if you don't figure them out in advance. And make sure you get the evidence that shows that you can't, if they exist. All right, so that's it, guys. That was the week. Hope you all had a good one. I hope you're all staying warm, all of you up in definitely in the Northeast, but I'm sure it's pretty cold in a lot of other areas in the country. I'm not sure it's even warmed up down south yet. Has it? I haven't really been watching the weather. I know, not good. I'm just, Groundhog Day came and went, so I just smell spring coming, even though I still have about, 13 inches of snow out there. And we'll probably get more. I can't imagine we're not going to have more before the season's over, but it's all good. All right. I will chat with you guys later. Hope you have a great week coming up. Stay safe and God bless. Bye-bye.